Hello, it's Aileen. For this last week, I've had something of a challenging week, and I have found myself really needing and wanting to do some tapping, but I've not been able to do it. Something gave me a bit of a nudge tonight to do a little video about that, because I think there will be times where following an order, for example, of tapping points, no matter how short or straightforward or even familiar, following a sequence is going to just feel too hard. Following a script is going to seem too hard. Making up your own script may seem even harder. And I think that's where I've been this week. Even though there have been nights when I've been thinking, I really need to, tapping would help me. This is a skill that you have, and it would help. I have not though. And today I think that it would be a good thing to do. But the script isn't really, it's not really fitting for me, for this situation. I just need the pure tapping, I think. So there are things that we can do in those situations, and I just thought I would share them in case they work for anybody else. So if you've watched videos from me before, you will have seen me go through the different tapping points. Some of those are pretty powerful when you use them on your own, and you can just tap and breathe. The ones that are powerful, particularly powerful, are the karate chop, the side of the hand, the top of the head, the collarbone, or simply putting your hand on your heart, and another one that I'll come to in a minute. So the karate chop point, obviously that's the one where we start off a tapping session. It is very powerful. It's great if you're out and about and you're on the move or at work. You can just sit and tap there relatively discreetly if you have to. And I certainly do that, but I find that for maybe a crisis situation or an intensive situation, it's not the best for me. Top of the head, if I am overthinking, and if my brain is in that kind of overclocked state where it's just going too fast and you just can't grab hold of your thoughts, then I find that tapping the top of the head is really, really good for that. I'm not saying anything, I'm just tapping and breathing, tapping and breathing, and it can just take that edge off. You can either tap in one place, like right in the middle of your head, or as I like to do, all over. It does feel a little bit like that thing, if you ever did that in primary school, where you pretended to crack an egg on somebody's head and do the trickle. It feels a little bit like that, and it does remind me of that sometimes. And that lightness, that relief, that little bit of laughter, that brings its own medicine as well, which is really good. So my personal favourite is to work with this area here. Now, if I'm physically very stressed, if you've been hunched up, that could be because of emotional stress, but it could also just if you've had a hard day at the computer and you've been hunched up and this part is just really tense and sore. So in those times, I find it good to tap on the actual collarbone itself. And again, you could choose to work with one point, or you could go right along the collarbone, or you could use both hands and type on both sides of the collarbone. I kind of struggle with this hand. I broke my arm when I was 12, and that wasn't yesterday, and it was set in a cast, so I can't quite turn that wrist round, so slightly awkward, but hopefully you'll manage it a bit better. You can also just tap all over that area. It's right next to the heart, and that's very, very calming. I love to work with this area if I'm just really struggling and I don't know what to do. And again, Tap and breathe. Tap and breathe. You can also just use your whole hand. Tap and breathe. And do that as long as you need to. I'm just demonstrating here, so I'm not going to do it for ages. Not on camera anyway. I'll probably, when I switch off, I'll just sit and tap and breathe. So, the other one that I said I would come back to is a different tapping point. It's not, all of these ones we've been talking about are part of the general tapping sequence. This one is not. It is an approach that is used for times of crisis or serious emotional pain or anything at all. And you basically bring your wrists together, bring your two wrists together and tap them against each other, whichever way is most comfortable for you. And again, just tap and breathe. Tap and breathe. Tap and breathe. I think breathing as well is so underrated. I've been very aware today that I've been doing the shallow breathing, and that can make us feel very stressed. So if we are able to just take a few minutes out to tap and breathe, then both the tapping and the breathing really, really help. That's probably what I should have done today. Instead I was like trying to breathe, and the harder you try, sometimes the more difficult it is, even breathing, which is fairly fundamental to everyday life. But yeah, combining it with the tapping and with that focus, and as I say, just a few minutes is really worthwhile. Taking that few minutes out to be really kind to yourself and do something very simple, which is accessible to most of us in some way, I hope. It's very, very powerful. So I'm going to go and sit down and just tap and breathe. I hope this is useful, and I really hope to be back with some more tapping videos very soon. Thank you for watching and for listening.